Guys, welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. As always, we start off with the sponsor love. So let's get into it. Guys, we're going to start off with Yellow Jacket, who's been rock solid for us. Guys, more than 70 years ago, Jack Ritchie set a goal for Ritchie Engineering to become a standard by which all HVAC hoses are measured. In the last 7 decades, the Yellow Jacket brand has not only become a standard in hoses, tools, refrigeration gauges, manifolds, HVAC vacuum pumps, and refrigerant recovery machines, it's become legendary. How have they done it? Through an unwavering commitment to excellence. It's the single most important attribute in the longevity of a company. While other companies sold out, sent work overseas, and lessened quality, the relentlessness commitment of their people has led to 70 years of best-in-class products, first-class customer service, and innovations that make the contractor's job easier worldwide. That's us, people. So let's join Yellow Jacket in the next 70 years as they commit to changing the standard once again. Guys, remember, Yellow Jacket, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. Then we have last but not least, I can get out of something. It's going to be, guys, Live Bearded. For all my bearded brothers out there, stop putting that garbage in your beard. It's made for your ass or your face or your head, and it's not supposed to go in your beard. All right, guys, Live Bearded is a people where they take quality products and they do it over profits. Okay, they believe in an unreal customer experience, selling the highest quality products possible and standing behind everything they sell with no questions asked and a lifetime warranty and a money-back guarantee. They believe it's their responsibility as men to do better every day, learn from our mistakes, grow through our failures, and strive to be the best that we can be. They even believe you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you do better. They believe that they're entitled to nothing in life, and in our life, it's our fault and our responsibility. So guys, if you want quality products for your beard, grooming, just being a manly man, guys, go over to livebearded.com. If you put in HVAC Uncensored at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your order. All right, guys, so Live Bearded, okay? Live better, do better, Live Bearded.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and God bless all of our global listeners.
Five, four, three, two, one, go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. And like I said last week, I don't know how we got here, but we sure as hell ain't going anywhere. Guys, we have an awesome episode for you tonight. I am Gil, your host, sitting alongside my buddy old pal, Mr. Kelly McKay. What's up, brother?
What's up, buddy? How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Work, employees need to do what they're told, damn it. They don't listen very well. Gonna start smacking them around a little bit or something. I don't know, but
yeah,
that's a story.
Get into that.
Yeah, that's a story for another time, guys. We have an awesome interview for you guys tonight. Like we told you, man, we have a lineup coming up of guests that is just like fucking rock stars. So this is one of the ones we promote and tell you guys about if you've been paying attention. And if you want to win on the Tuesday night live stream at 9 p.m., listen to the podcast because some of the questions are going to be in this podcast. We're pretty much giving shit away to you guys if you're just smart enough to download. It's pretty easy. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and introduce our guest. Guys, our guest is Brigham Dickinson. He is the founder of Power Selling Pros, the company that powers your experience with automated online chat for over 400 residential dealers and counting. Power Selling Pros also offers power tech training services in dealer shops all over the country, and Power CSR certification to literally thousands of call handlers in our industry for over 10 years now. So guys, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Brigham Dickinson.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, boss?
Oh, good, man. Excited to have you on.
I am also very excited. This is really, really cool. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, you're welcome. I was a little late with this, but that was for you. I was on the wrong bank of applauses, and I didn't think you wanted a bullhorn played at you. So,
well, either way.
But yeah, I guess I want to say I'll speak honestly. I know Kelly has. I have not, taken your program and stuff like that, but I've heard so much good stuff about it, and I think it is definitely necessary in the growth of a company. It's probably something that I need to look into as well as a million other things. But I've definitely heard nothing but good things about this. So I guess if you just want to start, I guess just tell us a little bit about yourself and how this all came about.
Yeah. So about 11 years ago, I had a marketing company that went under. I know this is a crazy story you've never heard before, back in 2008, right? It wasn't because of the recession, though. It was just because I wasn't very smart. I merged into another organization and moved my family to Florida, and I thought for sure it was going to go gangbusters, and it went kaput in a matter of 5 months. It was over very, very fast. And so I crawled back to Utah, and I had a few clients and started working with them on pay-per-click advertising. I was a broker for pay-per-click and SEO. Did that for a while, and one of my clients, Troy Nearings, gave me a call, and he said, "Hey, your leads are no good." And I said, "What do you mean my leads are no good?" "Well, they just want a ballpark price, or they just want to know what you charge to come out. They just want to talk to a technician." I'm sure you guys aren't familiar with these kind of calls at all, right?
Yeah,
so I said, "Hey, look,"
that never happens.
I know. So I said, "Look, those are leads. Those are opportunities. And all all your team needs is training." And he said, "Well, do you know anyone?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'll do it. I'll train them." And so I started training them just to keep the SEO account. And crazy thing, as we worked together, their call conversions went up 20% within a month. And then Troy's friend, his name is Tom Robichaud, Precision Plumbing and Heating in Boulder, Colorado, gave me a call and said, "Hey, I hear you're working with Troy and his call handling team." I said, Yep, I'm doing their SEO and their pay-per-click." And he says, "Well, yeah, I've got that covered. But you're training the call handling team, right?" "Yeah, I'm doing that as just kind of a side project, but I could do your SEO and your pay-per-click." And he says, yeah, I've got that covered, but I'd like for you to train my call handling team." And then the light bulb finally came up. "Okay, wait a minute. You want me to train your call handling team?" "Yes." "Oh, okay." So as I figured it out, and I started listening to what Tom wanted, I go down and start training his team as well. And he will pay me to train his CSRs on a regular basis. And so then after that, Tom and Troy got together and referred me to a gentleman by the name of Mike Gugliero, gold medal in New Jersey, big old company there. In fact, he recently sold it a couple of years ago to Horizon. Mm-hmm. And he hired me. And then after he hired me, everybody started hiring me. And I told you earlier that I hired all my friends. I don't have a lot of friends. They all came on board, and we've been working ever since. So today we have a call handling training program. It takes about 1.5 years to complete. By the time we're done, you're booking at least 85% of your phone calls, or we give you your money back. And we've never had to give money back ever. We've had thousands go through that program.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then 2 years ago, I had a client say, hey, look, your training is awesome. Can you do the same for my technicians? Because it's based on customer service and a set of principles, and it works for everybody. And so I said, sure, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. And I start training technicians, and I have a team of trainers now that do an extremely good job. Stephen Dell, Erica and Ryan, phenomenal trainers, and sales team with Barry Gates. And we've just done a really good job of it, training technicians. And last year, we started Power Chats. Our goal is to take phenomenal customer service and combine that with technology. And as you marry the two, you'll find that you'll take your growth to a whole new level. So the cool thing about Power Chats is that everybody is invested in some sort of chat on their website, which is great because you drive people to your site with SEO and with pay-per-click. The problem with that is, well, what are you going to do now? They're at your site, right? In fact, your SEO guy's going to say, look, you've had 100,000 website visits. Well, okay, what are we going to do with that? How do you turn that into dollars, right? Well, live chat comes around, and now you've got a live person answering that chat. Well, the problem with that is that you're waiting on a human to answer it. So you got a lot of wait time, right? While that human works his way over to the internet and answers that chat. But what if you have AI? In other words, a robot. Well, that takes our wait time down to zero. And what if that AI was better at converting those visits into set appointments than humans were? In other words, your average conversion with live chat is about 30%, whereas with AI, the AI at Power Chats, it's at 90%.
Wow.
Here's the crazy thing. Live chat, you're spending about $800 to $2,000 a month. With AI, it's $300 a month. So it's crazy. The cost, it's very, very cost effective, and it works 90% of the time.
And if you're closing that many leads, it's worth, I mean, that $300 is a kick in the, drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? You got to spend money to make money. Everybody in business knows that.
Yeah. And all that money, all that investment to get people to your site, driving people to that site. What are you going to do now? How are you going to convert that? How are you going to get a name, address, a phone number? And that's what the AI is for. It's really cool stuff, really cool technology. So if we can take the technology, we can take the amazing customer experience and put them together, now you've got a company who's ready to grow.
That makes sense. Me and Kelly talk about that. It's great to get people to your website, but get them there and do what? People always say about designing a website and making sure that it's, user friendly, where they can go on different things. But if a person comes to your website, looks around and says, oh, it's a great website, and leaves, what did you really do? That didn't solve anything. It didn't solve their problem they were looking to fix, and it sure as hell didn't help us. So yeah, that's awesome. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's I didn't even know you were doing that, Brigham. I didn't even know. I just knew we needed CSR training, so that's what we went searching for, and we found you. And but yeah, I'm totally interested in that, because that's because I've shied away from the website chat just because of the expense, and I have not heard anything good about it. And you're just confirming it there with that 30%. That's not good, for how much you pay for it.
You're paying for humans.
Yeah.
You're paying for humans to do work. The problem is that they're humans. And they tend to use call handling principles via chat. Well, the issue with that is that you spend way too much time on chat. For example, tell me more about your situation. Over the phone, that's a great question to ask. Via chat, look, I'm on chat for a reason. I don't have time for this. I need to go. Either you can help me or you can't help me. But either way, I don't have time, which is why I'm chatting instead of calling you.
Yep.
So our goal with chat, with the AI, is to keep it very simple. Tell me about your situation. Well, it's this. Wow, that's definitely something we can help you with. Can I start with your name, your address, your phone number? Awesome. And we're rolling. We got a name, address, and phone number. We're done. Because guess what? That's all they wanted. They wanted to be taken care of via chat. That's why they're on that platform. Our goal is to talk to people the way they want to be talked to, on the platform they want to be talked to on. So if it's phone, we got something for that. We've got another human being that we can work with and train and help them take care of that customer. But chat's completely different. It's a completely different animal. And so you can't approach it the way you would over the phone, the way you would approach a customer over the phone.
So I know you were driving leads to these guys, and you just, did you have any previous experience with, like, you know, handling those calls over the phone to set those leads, or was this like a trial and error thing? And same with the chats. Is this like a trial and error? You're figuring out real quick what works?
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kevin Comerford.
I'm not.
So he's the owner of Champions. What's it called? Comfort Champions. I think it's Comfort Champions in Concord, California. Anyway, big shop there.
Yeah.
Before he owned his own company, he worked at Service Experts. Well, when I started in this industry, I worked at Service Experts. Now you guys are connecting all the dots, right? Well, he had me answering the phones for a company called Arctic Air in Chico, California. So I was answering phones there, and Kevin called me one day because he was the manager over that district and over that shop. And he said, "Hey, you're answering phones, and I need to talk to you about that." Now, I had just finished up my marketing degree. I was going to be a marketing muck, and I thought for sure that he heard that I had just finished my degree, and he really wanted to visit me because of that. Maybe I'll, move up this ladder. And so I put together all these marketing ideas. He told me over the phone that he wanted to talk to me about answering phones, but I couldn't fathom that something so trivial, that he'd travel all the way down from Concord to Chico. It's like a 3-hour drive. And sure enough, he shows up in his Jeep Cherokee. I'll never forget it. He jumps out, meets me in the meeting room, and I show him all these cool marketing ideas. And he listens to it for about 2 minutes. He says, "You know what? This is great." And he moves everything over to the side, all my ideas to the side. And he says, "Show me how you answer the phones." And I thought, okay, this is Brigham with Arctic Air. How can I help? And he's like, "Really? That's all you got?" For the next 2 hours, he drills me on how to answer the phones. And we did everything from practicing difficult calls and he had these different voices, he was engaged, man. And if you tried to jump out of the role play, he was like, no, you gotta do it like this. Okay. And he had me write script after script after script. And he said, "I'm going to call you every 2 weeks." He said this on the way out. He said, "I'm going to call you every 2 weeks. I'm going to come on with a different voice. Whether you recognize it's me or not, you better finish the role play just like we practiced today." And sure enough, for like 6 months, he called me every 2 weeks in a different voice. And it's funny too, because at the end he'd say, "It's me, Kevin." And of course, I'd act surprised. I'd be like, "No way. I had no idea it was you, Kevin." And it was great. It was really cool. But he showed me how important it was to answer the phones. And so when I left Service Experts so many years ago, I don't know, like 20 years ago or whatever, and I started doing marketing for different companies, SEO and pay-per-click. And I started listening to these phone calls that were awful. They were making me look bad. And I knew how to answer it. I knew exactly how to.
Yeah.
Kevin taught me how to answer these calls. I can do it. And so when I had the opportunity to train them, I did it out of necessity and became a business.
Nice.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah.
It's a cool story, a roundabout story about how you got there. You're also an author, correct? Don't you have it's a book? I got too many papers in front of me. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. So
his newest book just published.
Yes.
So
this is my second book. It's called Patterned After Excellence. Jeez, I better look at my own notes. Patterned After Excellence, Pursuing Truth in Work and in Life. So I teach a set of principles. There are 8 principles and 1 outcome. And in my first book, I focused just in that pattern. And the goal is to get your team engaged, emotionally engaged in creating a wow experience for your customer, whether it's over the phone, whether it's in the home. That's our goal. And as a side note, that's our core training. That's our goal, is for you to connect with every customer on an emotional level. Get them to like you, get them to love you. Because if you can do that, well, the fee at the end doesn't matter. Why? Because they like you. You not being able to come out today as opposed to tomorrow doesn't matter as much if they like you. Let me just give you one example. I went to this dermatologist. This is kind of a graphic example. But I had this like bump in my head. I don't know if you can still see the scar for those of you that are watching. But I had a bump right here. Well, that dermatologist, I could barely get in, right? This guy was booked out for weeks. And I thought for sure this must be the coolest guy on the planet, right? The best dermatologist in the state, because there's no getting in with this guy. And so I finally convinced the gal to fit me in between 2 appointments. And she did, finally. And got in there, and the guy jumps in, and he talks about everything that you should talk about, like politics and religion. I mean, you name it. He was talking about it. And he says, all right, let's jump in there and get that bump out, whatever that thing is. And he goes in without putting gloves on. Now, I don't know about you, but the back of my head, I was like, wait a minute. There should be some gloves, right? And the guy had blood all over his hands. He didn't care. And so he sews me up. And I think I'm done, right? He says I'm done. He has me go. Well, I get home. By the time I'm home, there's this huge bubble on my head. Well, apparently he had cut some like blood vessels or something, and it made, underneath the stitches, it made the blood come. And so I had this huge, massive bump on my head. So I go back in. He drains that. So he has to take out the stitches, drain it.
Oh, I thought he found his glove.
Oh my God. And you would think I'd complain at some point, right? That I'd go online and say, this is crazy. This is an awful experience. Not once. Why? Because the guy had me laughing and giggling the entire time. I loved the guy. I loved him. Still love him. Look, it is amazing what you can do. No, look, and I'm not about to advocate that that you should be swindling or anything, but it's amazing how patient people are with their friends.
That's true. That's true.
And your goal with the Pattern for Excellence is to create that kind of connection, so that when you say, hey, it's X and it's a fair price, you're going to do a great job. You're going to install it correctly. It's going to be awesome. They're going to love it for the next 15 to 20 years. It's going to be great. You know it, and they know it, because they feel that they know you and they believe in you. And so that's what the Pattern for Excellence does. So when I started teaching this to CSRs and to technicians, they would always say, and I know you'd be surprised by this, but they'd always say, gosh, I wish you could teach my owner these things. And when I talked to the owner about that, and they saw these principles, and they're like, wow, you know who would really benefit from these principles, right? My distributor. And then, of course, the distributor would be like, you know what, who would benefit from these principles is the manufacturer. And everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. And I just thought, okay, I need to talk about these principles in a different way. And so that's why I wrote this second book. So look, if you don't have the first book, get it. It's called Pattern for Excellence. It's engage your team to wow more customers. It's a fantastic book. We've distributed over 5,000 of them. Okay. It's a great book. So definitely get that. It's online. It's on Amazon. But this book, I wrote it because I wanted to focus more on business owners. I am one, and I've been one. I've got 40 employees. You know, I've got a payroll of over $100,000 a month, and I'm not bragging. I'm saying I'm you. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You know, we're in this boat together, and I've had a lot of pitfalls. And let me just give you one example that is covered in this book. About 3 years into my business, I plateaued. I know that's never happened to anybody before.
Never.
No. And so I plateaued at about 300 trainees, and I couldn't get past it. And so in year 3, that's where I was. In year 4, that's where I was. In year 5, that's where I was. And I just couldn't get past it. And I couldn't figure it out because I was focused on sales, and I was tracking every lead, and I was, you know, collecting income, and I just couldn't get past it. And I started getting really frustrated and depressed, and, you know, you name it. And I finally hired a coach. You know, I thought that would be better than calling it quits. And this coach started working with me. And after a training that I did with my team, he said, you know, it's funny. You talked a lot about sales and closing the lead and collecting the money. And never once did you talk about the principles you teach your customers. Ouch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had a huge wake-up call and felt like, geez, man, how could I possibly let myself, you know, become, you know, the opposite of what I teach? And so I sat down with my coach that day, and we began to write out a set of core values based on the principles. And I promised myself from that point moving forward that I would never, ever, ever teach anything that I wasn't willing to do myself on a regular basis. And so one of our core values is we teach people to do what we are doing, period. Mm-hmm. And as I started following my own principles as my core values, my team's core values, and we go through them every Monday, and we have shout outs and breakthroughs to reemphasize each of the principles. So the shout outs is where you shout out another member of the team. You know what, you did this and you followed this principle this week, and it was awesome, and it really made a difference. And I just want to give you a shout out. And so we do the shout outs, and then we do breakthroughs where we talk about how we individually had breakthroughs of our own as we followed each of the principles. And it's made all the difference in the world in our organization. We've tripled in size, not just revenue wise, but employee wise. And so my objective with this book is to teach truth. Now, what is truth? For whatever reason, truth has lost its meaning. We have a lot of people who say, oh, this is my truth, or that's your truth, or whatever. Well, the fact of the matter is you don't own truth. You never did. Truth's been around long before you were here, long before you were born. It's going to be around long after you're dead. Let me give you an example of one truth. You can say that your truth is that an apple seed, when planted, will become a peach tree. That could very well be your truth. But no matter how much you think that is your truth, right? Guess what? When you plant that seed, that apple seed, it's going to be an apple tree. Even if you water it and give it plenty of sun and plenty of care, guess what? It's still going to be an apple tree. That is truth. It is universally true. So what is truth is it's a natural law that you can't change. So if we have truths that apply to all of us, now the difference between this really is belief versus truth. You may have a belief, and that may be your belief, but it's not your truth. You don't own it. Truth is truth, and it's independent of you or anyone else. But if you follow the truth, you're going to get the natural consequence, the good consequence. All right. The cool thing is we all have agency. We are agents that have the ability to act as opposed to being acted upon. And so our goal here is to discover and apply truth to experience the happy consequences, or the choice to not follow truth and instead follow our tendencies and experience the harsh consequences. And that's what makes truth truth, is that although you have the choice to do and believe whatever you want to do and believe, you don't get to choose the consequence. And that's what makes truth truth.
Yeah. Well, I see. Let me, I don't mean to interrupt you real fast. Let me ask you this real fast. In all the people that you've had to deal with, I mean, what are some tendencies that you find that pull people away from that universal truth?
Okay. So there's the obvious ones, right? People will lie, they'll steal, they'll, you name it, right? Those are obvious. Those are obvious tendencies. That the question is what drove them to that? What in their psyche made them do all those things? Well, even though people may not be caught for gross, tendencies, let's say that, for example, little white lies, right? When we tell little white lies, because in our mind, it's going to get us ahead. Where in reality, the only one we really hurt is ourselves. Why? Because our conscience is going to scream at us, and we're going to need to stifle that with something. And who knows what we stifle it with. But let me just give you one example. So I had an employee reach out to me a few years back, it was 4 or 5 years ago, and they were done. They sent everything that was the business's in a box, including their credit card. And they cut up the credit card in little pieces and they put it in an envelope, right? It was really nice. And they put it all in this box and they shipped it back to me. And I got this letter. And the letter explained why a text that I sent to her was the last straw. And it was a request that I had asked her a few times. And I said, hey, I asked this to be done. Why isn't it done? I felt like it was a fair request, right? And that was the last straw for her. And it was interesting because my initial reaction was relief, because I was thinking about firing her anyway. Sound familiar? I was going to fire her anyway, right? Sure. Sure. So I read through this letter, and one of the things that she said is that she asked for a review. And then after she asked for a review, she said there were several other things that were wrong with me. And it kind of hurt, right? And I had to get through all the pride and, the defensiveness, which are all human tendencies, by the way. Pride, defensiveness,
ego,
selfishness, ego. Yeah. See, those are all human tendencies that we have, right? But this one in particular, the reality is that she asked for a review. And when people ask for reviews, what they're really looking for, right? What are they looking for?
Pat on the back.
Pat on the back and a little bit of a raise.
Sure.
Right? That's what happens during your reviews. And I didn't think she deserved the raise. And so what did I do? I ignored the request. She was a great worker. She was dedicated. She was committed. She asked for the review, and I put it off because I didn't think she was quite there, and I didn't know how to articulate it. So I put it off, and I put it off, And then all of a sudden she stopped being so dedicated, and she stopped being so, she became disengaged.
Yeah.
She started clock watching and so on and so forth, and pushing the buck, right? The responsibility out to somebody else. And to the point where I kept, badgering her about, hey, why isn't this done? Or why isn't that done? And finally the last straw occurred. So I realized that was on me. That was my fault. You see, I became indifferent to her request. I chose not to care about her request. And because I chose not to care, guess what? She chose not to care. And that's the kind of human tendency of them. No, this could have been easily fixed. We could have had a review where we sat down and she explained why she deserved a raise, and I could explain why she wasn't there yet. And in that situation, we could agree that with a certain amount of performance that raise could be given, or we can agree to disagree. And on the best terms, right? We could agree to part ways, but still it'd be on amicable terms. Mm-hmm. It could have been done in such a better way. And so the point that I'm trying to make here is that when you cave to human tendency, there's so much work that is involved in that. But when you hold true to truth, when you go into a moment realizing that you can affect that moment, that you can actually win that moment if you handle it the right way. Well, if we all go into moments, we're all going to win with that mindset of following truth. Man, we're going to go into moments winning moment after moment. And so truth, what it does is it's the backbone of progress and prosperity. Whereas caving to human tendency, it consumes prosperity. It consumes progress. I mean, black and white, do we really need policemen if we have people following truth?
No.
Probably not. Because they're all being self-governed. But somebody's got to pay for policemen because they're not self-governed.
Right.
They need to be governed by somebody else. And so that consumes our prosperity. All the prosperity we have goes into the military, into police, and so on and so forth. Why? Because people need to be policed because they cave to their tendencies as opposed to holding true to truth.
No, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's definitely good to, it was a good topic to talk about. I mean, I think that's true, and it happens to everybody. Everybody has to, be careful with that.
And now you have me intrigued. I got to get your book. So
okay, yeah. And so that's just one. That's
that
one
out.
Human tendency, right?
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned all the other human tendencies. There's our ego that comes into play. See, when you are a confident person, you get to the point where you are a fantastic technician, right? You're on it. You've not only been through training, but you've been into many consumers' homes and you're crushing it. Well, the problem with having a few successes is that your confidence can morph into ego. Mm-hmm. Now, you want to be around a confident person because it makes you confident. But the minute your confidence morphs into ego, nobody wants to be around you.
Yep.
Because you're always right.
Yes.
And you don't want to hear anybody else's opinion because that would affect your ego. And so it's that sort of human tendency that keeps us from winning moments.
No, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can definitely see how you're tying all these universal truths directly to what we're doing. And this is going to unravel some stuff, I'm sure. So I'm really interested to read your book. But how has just all these years of coaching the CSRs and home service businesses to success, I know that you've had to see, like Tony Robbins says, what does he say about you'd have to be an idiot not to see patterns, and you've got to have some insights and some patterns into what you're seeing in our industry.
I know that there's a lot of people in the industry, and there's a lot of different voices out there that will push you in different directions. And I'll give you an example of one direction I just don't agree with. I had a technician trainer that approached me at an event. And he said, the technicians I work with, I tell them that with the owner, you've got to show them what you've got every month. You've got to just sell, get every dollar out of grandma that you can. Yeah. That's a direct quote. Yeah. Because you've got to show the owner what you've got, or they're just not going to keep you around. In the back of my head, I was like, that is so wrong. So wrong. So as I was finishing up this book, I knew there was going to be some people that disagree with me as well. And that's okay. I want to work with those who put the customer first. I want to work with those who look in the mirror every day and say, you know what? I'm not a perfect person. And I'm not going to let that stop me from trying to be. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be awesome. I'm going to be fantastic for every customer that I work with. I'm going to give 100%. And guess what? I'm going to take care of grandma. I'm going to take care of grandma, and I'm going to take care of her kids and her kids' kids, and my kids are going to take care of her kids, because that's who I am, and because I want to sleep well at night. I am of the group that believes that if you put the customer first, your company is going to grow. You put yourself first and you think you're going to grow. You know what? You want to believe that? You want to follow that rhetoric? You go ahead.
Right.
I want to work for the guys in this industry that put the customer first, because that's what I do. That's how I've grown. I have never been successful, ever, when I've thought of myself first, when I've been selfish. The only time I found success in my life, the only time I felt prosperous was when I let go of myself and went to work. And so the ones that I see being successful are the ones that do exactly that. And for whatever reason, we're just kind of we end up working together. I don't know how that happens, but we've got over 300 companies that we work with. And I just find that, I send out email messages on Wednesdays and Fridays, and they respond saying, man, that's exactly what I need, and thank you so much. Well, what I say to them is exactly what I say to me every day. I wrote this book. I wrote this book for me. I want to follow truth. I want to discover and apply truth, because I know that I will win moment after moment. And most importantly, at the end of the day, whether I've got, sure, it's important to take care of your family, but the most important thing is that I sleep at night. I sleep at night feeling good about who I am and what I do and who I do it for. Yeah, and those are the people that I want to work with. And I'm finding that those are the people in this industry that are surviving. Not just surviving, but thriving, growing, leaps and bounds. Those are the ones that I see growing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more. We've talked to other guests before. We've talked about where if you're in the customer service industry, and if the customer is not the most important thing, that you're never going to grow. That you may be delaying the inevitable, but the business is never going to be what you want it to be if the customer is not the most important thing. Because like you said, you make that customer happy and you're doing that, it comes back tenfold in the loop of how business works. And then just in life in general, you feel better about yourself because you're providing an awesome service. You're charging more for it because you're providing that good service. And it's a win-win for everybody in the way business works. That whole selfishness, it does not work.
No. And it's one of those things. We interviewed Tommy Mello a couple weeks ago, and he was like, just talking about how he doesn't have to look back. Nobody's coming to get him. Like, as long as you do the right thing, time after time, day after day, week after week, month, there's nothing to be scared of. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of what you're saying. Is like, that is what we do. I know that's what Gil does. I know it's what my company does. We just try to do the right thing no matter what. And because of that, I sleep like a baby. So
Yes, I do.
yeah.
I actually
You guys-
see. I'm sorry. I want to plug real fast, guys. I'm on Amazon, and both of I guess these are two. They're two different books. So
Yeah.
you have the pattern after excellence, and then the pattern for excellence. So guys, both of these books are on Amazon. I am going to put the links in the description of these podcasts. It'll be on the video podcast for YouTube, and also in the description for the audio podcast. But I'm going to put all that in there so you guys can check these out. And these are really affordable for some great information. So please make sure you check these out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I will be placing an order as soon as we get off this call.
Yeah, I do that. Every time we talk to somebody and they have a book, I
yeah.
do it. Like I've already read, Tommy's book, Home Service Millionaire. So this is going to be my next project because that one's done. So now I'm going to be reading these.
Awesome. Yeah, Tommy's good people. In fact, I contributed to that book. There's a chapter that I contributed to in there.
Yep.
Oh, that's you. You did. Now that you say that, yeah. I think I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah, it was your favorite one. I think that's what you were saying.
Hey,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
I kid you not, man. I actually copied some of that out of there, even though I have like the downloads and stuff from your website from taking the little CSR deal that we did. But I copied that off and I gave it to my manager to go give to the CSR just as a refresher, so good stuff. Absolutely good stuff.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. When a company calls you and you go in, obviously I don't want you to give away your secrets as far as how it works, but do people ever like kind of like fight back where you got to kind of like loosen them up and then kind of just teach them the way to do it correctly? Because you go in and some person's been a CSR for 10 years and what the hell is this guy going to teach me? What the hell does he know? You know what I mean? Like, does that happen a lot?
All the time. All the time. But here's the thing. Their goal is to connect with the customer on an emotional level over the phone with a technician that's going to be in the home, right? That's their job. If I can't do that while I'm training them, whether they're playing that game or not, whether they've got an ego of their own, I kind of like it. I like the challenge. I like being able to pick those guys out in the crowd. Let me give you one example. So I was training this team, and it's crazy because the owner paid money for me to come out and train his call handling team, right? So you would think he'd be supportive of what I was teaching. I'm out. Well, he shows up in the middle of this training, and he starts asking question after question and concern. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? You come in the middle of, you don't even show up on time, right? And now you're questioning my training in front of all your entire team. Not happening. So I pull him up to the front. I said, great, we're going to practice together. I'm going to show you how this works. And I'll tell you exactly what I teach. There's no secrets here. I mean, you could find it on YouTube if you really wanted to. But customer gets on the phone. Your goal is to create a connection with them in the first 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds of that phone call determines the ultimate outcome of that phone call. So the first 30 seconds are vital, extremely important. So our goal is to take care of their emotional needs right out of the gate. They have an emotional need to be heard. They have an emotional need to be cared about. And they have an emotional need to be reassured that they've called the right place. If you can take care of those emotional needs in the first 30 seconds, you got them, okay? So our goal here is to say, no matter what they say, right? Because they can say, hey, look, what do you charge for a pound of R22? Which never happens, right? Hey, I'm just looking for what you charge for a pound of R22. Cool. How do you know you need R22? Well, my neighbor said that that's all he needed, is some R22 to get through the summer. And, Mr. Jones, I appreciate that you've done your homework. That's really important. Did you know that you shouldn't need R22, that there's, in fact, a hole in it that is leaking out that R22, and it needs to be fixed, not just put more into it. Well, I'm just really looking for a price. Look, it's definitely something we can help you out with. When would you like us to come out and give you that price? Well, I was just hoping you can give me a price for the phone. Cool. What if we come out, put R22 in it, and we find out that it's not R22 that you need? Would you be surprised by that? Well, yeah, I'd be really surprised by that. Okay, well, why don't you let us come out? Why don't you let us come out, take a look at the situation. If it is R22 that you need, we'll give you a price on it. If it's not R22 that you need, if it's something else, something completely different, we'll give you a price on that. But either way, you've got that second opinion. When would you like us to come out? See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying no. I'm not saying, oh, we don't give prices over the phone. I'm not saying, I don't know anything. I'm not a technician. I'm just none of that. It's, you know what? It's reasoning with them. Okay. We're taking logic and we're saying, look, if you have a system, it's not working the way it should, right? There's a problem with it. Something's broken. So our goal is to gently poke holes in their logic with our logic. Now, we don't want to make them feel dumb, because the minute you make them feel dumb, they're off the phone. They're moving on because they feel dumb. Your goal is to get them to like you. And so you need to do it in a very careful way. So again, it's very simple. Tell me more about your situation. Well, I've got this. Wow, that's terrible. How long has it been doing that? Oh, last couple of days. Well, look, we can help you with that. When would you like us out? Oh, this afternoon would be good. So whatever they asked, it doesn't matter. At the end, you're asking, when would you like us to come out? Because you want them thinking about us coming out as opposed to anything else. So that's the sort of thing that we're teaching. Well, I sit down with this owner, back to my story, right? I sit down with this owner in the front of this class where he said, hey, I don't know about all this. Well, I go through and I said, tell me more. What's it doing? How long has it been doing that? By the time I get to when would you like us to come out, he says, well, this afternoon would be good. And I said, wait a minute, time out. What about all those concerns that you had, so on and so forth? He says, yo, you're a nice guy. And I said, well, wait a minute. Before we started this role play, you had all these concerns that what if a jerk calls in? He says, well, yeah, but I'm not a jerk. I said, time out. Do you think people call in saying, hey, I'm a jerk, therefore I'm going to be a jerk? No, people don't want to be jerks per se, especially if they like you. Right. See, here's the reality, Mr. Owner. Here's the real reason why you don't want to be mean to me in this role play. You don't want to be mean to me because you like me. And he was, I do not like, he was all uncomfortable. I do not like you. And I said, yes, you do. You like me. And that's why you don't want to be mean, even in this role play. Even if I were to say to you, you could be mean. Even if I were to give you permission to be a total jerk to me, you can't do it. Why? Because you don't want me to think that you're a jerk. You like me. And he shut up the rest of the time. He said, I think you're onto something. I said, yeah, I'm onto something. Let's do this. And the rest of them were practicing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happens all the time.
But that makes sense though, because you have to reinforce those phone calls. And I know that our girls sometimes answer the phone and people do the whole, what's a pound of R22? Oh, well, we don't give prices over the phone. And they do try to get somebody, we'd have to come out to give you a price, but I think they mean well, but they're not doing it the right way. Just like you said. So the customer, they're giving them a no right off the bat. So now the customer's pissed. Okay, now they're not giving me the information that I want. And now you're going to be like, oh, well, you want us to come out? Well, I don't want you to come out now because now you told me you won't give me what I wanted you to give me in the first place. So I like how that worked around. It still ends into we're both getting what we want.
Yeah. You never say no. Technicians know that. They get training on this all the time. You never say no. All right, so let's say yes. Let's say they have a problem with the dispatch fee, because that never happens at all, does it? Hey, I don't want to pay the fee. Okay, well, tell me more about that. Is it just the fee that you're concerned about? Yeah, I don't want to pay it. So if it weren't for the fee, you'd move forward the appointment. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, we've got this really cool thing called a service agreement. It's awesome. We come out in the spring, we come out in the fall, make sure it's running at peak efficiency. The best part about the service agreement is that it takes 10% off of all the services we provide. Now, if you wanted, I can get you on the service agreement as opposed to having you pay the dispatch fee. Would that be enough for you to move forward the appointment today? How many of you guys want a service agreement? Everybody.
Oh yeah,
Everybody wants a service agreement. And they probably, I mean, look, if we're just getting dispatch fee, we're losing money anyway. But if we can get an agreement to serve them every 6 months, so that, look, our goal is for them to at some point buy a system from us. It's crazy how much money and time we spend on new customer acquisition and almost zero time on retention. So that when they're ready to buy, look, you've been with them for 7 years, tuning up their system for 7 years, and they go somewhere else and buy a system. Guess what? Something's wrong with your program.
That's a failure.
Right.
It's a huge failure.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Love all those. And I know earlier you had said it, but I love the tell me more. I just love that. It's like, tell me more. What do you got going on? I just love that because it's just it's an invitation to a conversation. So, and that's where you can connect and make that, get that connection with the customer, like you're talking about, on that emotional level. So,
and I like it. And I like it where I actually had a talk with our girls the other day, and we have one girl that the guys are like, she talks way too much. She's sitting there hearing the customer's life story. And I said, you know what? Every customer that calls in fucking loves her. Loves her. I said, yes, I want her to be efficient, but she can keep doing what she's doing because she listens to the customer's problems. She gets them booked, and then she'll talk about their dog, veterinary bills or whatever, but they love her. I'm like, I don't care. That's fine. Granted, I want her to keep booking and not just chit-chatting all day. But I said, don't stop her from what she's doing because it's working. And
also, if you've got back to the example that you gave, Brigham, was just overcoming the objection or whatever you want to call it of a diagnostic fee. Like if you've got an average ticket at $800, $1,200, $2,500, $30, whatever your average ticket is it worth not booking that call just because of that $75 or $89 or $99 diagnostic fee? I mean, come on. So, and I know that you help with ways to get around that. So just like the one you provided. So,
yeah, people spend a lot of time on the dispatch fee and they really don't need to. It's not important. And sometimes we judge that, oh, well, if they can't afford the dispatch fee, they obviously can't afford a system. Well, wait a minute. They got a car and they got a home. They got a mortgage and a car payment. And you don't think they can afford it. Well, time out. Let's not judge the customer. Let's not do that over the phone, right?
Exactly.
Let's book that call. Let's wow that customer. It's funny you mentioned tell me more. That's something you can use at home too, by the way. I know this never happens, but if your spouse were to say, hey, did you hear what I just said? Tell me more, sweetheart. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you guys are taking notes.
Yeah, I actually am taking notes, but I kind of have that zone out thing where it's like, hey, did you hear your daughter? Yeah, I heard her. Not sure what she said, but I know she was talking.
Yes, I heard her. Tell me more about it. Was there something you heard that I didn't hear, that I didn't catch? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got this, baby. You got this.
Or you confuse her. I heard you hear me hear her talking about what you were talking about what she said, But, well, I want to ask you this because I'm not going to lie. For the longest time, I was opposed to the whole waiving the diagnostic fee kind of thing. And only because some of the experience was, and I'm really big that I don't prejudge customers because I've been proven wrong over the years. But at least here, not all the time, but sometimes when we do that and we would just waive the diagnostic fee or we try to hide it in there somewhere or something, it just seemed like those calls ended up going nowhere. And I don't know if it was us because we already had our mindset saying, oh, these people aren't going to do anything. I do like what you did about the service contract though, because then we're both getting something. It's kind of a win-win, but I was against that for the longest time. Just like I'll ask your opinion, free estimates for sales. There's some people that say, oh, I charge a fee, and if they buy the system for me, I take it off the price of the system. I feel like the more opportunities you have, if you're good at your job, then you have more chances to close. So I don't know. I guess I keep talking and don't give you a chance to answer, but how do you feel about those things?
So the principle is just to give first, to create a wow experience, and build a long-term relationship. So we want to give first. So here's what I mean by that. You don't want to give anything for free. That's not what I'm saying. Everything's conditioned. So for example, let's say they didn't want the service agreement. Let's say when they heard that pitch, they're like, I don't want the service agreement. Mr. Jones, is it just the fee you're concerned about? Yeah, I don't want to pay it. So if it weren't for the fee, you move forth the appointment. Is that right? That's right. Okay. Well, this isn't something that we do. But you called in, we've had a great conversation. I can't do it without permission. So I'm going to need to put you on hold. But if I can get permission to waive it this one time, would that be enough for you to move forth the appointment today? So I go on hold, talk to my boss about it. Let's say that this situation is such where they've paid a couple of dispatch fees already from 2 other companies. They don't want to pay a third. Well, in that situation, that's pretty legitimate. Look, if they've already paid 2 dispatch fees, they don't want to pay a third one. For whatever reason, they don't trust those other 2. So maybe we can get them to trust us. Get back on the phone, Mr. Jones, you're all set. I've been able to get him to waive it. So what I've done there is I've essentially said that us giving you the appointment is conditioned upon the fact that you're going to let us come out there. You're going to let us spend the 90 minutes and do it right. So I would only do it like that when there aren't many appointments on the board. If there are a bunch of appointments on the board, I'm going to do a completely different strategy. I'm going to get them on I'd probably get them on an urgency list. And the urgency is, you guys never get in a situation where you're booked solid for 3 days, right? That never happens.
No, never.
Not never. Okay. So, but when it does, right? When it does, when it does happen, what you do is you say, tell me more. That's not good. I can help. Okay, cool. When would you like to come out? Right now. Now, you know you're booked solid. So what are you going to do? It's very simple. Mr. Jones, here's what I'm going to do. After you get their name, address, and phone number, you say, now that I've got your contact information, I'm going to get you on today's urgency list. Now, the urgency list gives you faster service. As soon as the customer calls in to reschedule or a technician gets done early in your area, I'm going to move you in that slot. But in order to get you on the urgency list, guess what? I need to get you in the schedule. Now, I've got an opening on Tuesday between 2 and 4. Can I book that appointment in order to get you on today's urgency list? And we'll call you as soon as technician is on his way. So let's say we've got 10 people on the urgency list and 5 we're able to get to. Now, those 5 have likely been calling around to get somebody out to their home, right? When we call them, how do you think they're going to feel about us?
Ecstatic.
Yeah. And guys, we have people that call in to reschedule all the time. They never cancel. We never want to say that. You know, imagine calling a customer saying, hey, we just had a bunch of cancellations. Can we work with you? No. No. Right. So you want to say we had somebody reschedule, right? They never cancel. They reschedule. So we had somebody reschedule. We have a technician who's on his way. They're freaking out. They're going, oh my gosh. And they're going online and they're saying, wow, these guys are amazing. Because they've been able to go out. They were able to go out to me today when I called in this crazy weather. So those 5, they love you. What about those other 5, right? Because half the dealers listening to this podcast are going, wait a minute, what about those other 5? Well, you call those other 5 at the end of the day. You say, Mr. Jones, we've had you on today's urgency list. Now, look, we've got 10 technicians in the field, some of which are working until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, whatever the truth is, right? Say it's 7 o'clock at night. Who cares? Whatever the truth is, just say it like it is. We've got technicians working until 7 o'clock at night, getting to here's the key, getting to as many families as we possibly can. We're going to get you on tomorrow's urgency list. As soon as the customer calls in to reschedule, technician gets done early in your area, I'm going to move you to that slot. We're going to call you as soon as technician is on his way. So even when we're booked solid, we are always saying yes. Always.
Yeah. Tell them what you can do, not what you can't do.
Yes. And it's all truth there. Mr. Jones, as soon as the customer calls in to reschedule, which happens, or a technician gets done early in your area, which happens.
Yes.
Either one of those two conditions fall into play, guess what? I'm sending a technician out to your home. So you use truth and say yes.
Yeah. Well, I got to do this real fast. Hold on. Let me make sure it's not the right one. Hold on. I'm ruining the moment. It's my mind was just blowing real fast, man. It wasn't loud enough.
I couldn't even hear that. I couldn't hear it, buddy.
Because you
can't hear it.
Quiet.
No, it's not.
There it is.
Yeah. Not like a bullet. I live outside of Baltimore, so you never know what it is.
So here's the thing. All these things are great, right? These tips and tools, and I'm sure everybody's going, oh my gosh, and they're grabbing CSRs by the neck and pulling them over to listen to this. And well, here's the thing. I have no problem sharing some of these tidbits and tools because I know that without a lot of practice, they're never going to do it right. And that's why we have a team of coaches that work with them one-on-one twice a month using their own phone calls. And that's why it takes a year and a half to complete the courses and the levels that we go through. And we guarantee the result at the end. But it takes practice, lots and lots and lots of practice. So, yeah, listen to them, rewind them, listen to them over and over again. You want to get it right? Give us a call. Let's do it right. Let's practice over and over again until you've got it.
Yeah, and I love what you said at the beginning, how you said what was it? 85%. I forget the numbers you said, but you said that if people are not happy after a certain time, you'll give them their money back, and you've never given someone their money back. I mean, that's cold hard facts. That's the truth about it. You know what I mean? There's you can't bullshit that. So people can base their opinions on whatever, but that's the truth. No one has asked for their money back. You know, so that says a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, if that ever happens, guess what the story is going to be?
No one has ever asked for their money back.
Until this one time, the guy asked for his money back, and guess what? I gave him his money back.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm not going to mess with that.
Yeah, no. That's awesome. And guys, just like Brigham just said, information is great. Knowing what to do with it is a different story. So, like he said, he can give you these little tidbits, and you're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to try to use it. But actually being coached to do it properly, where it's second nature, where you don't have to think about it before you do it. That's what you want your CSRs to do. That's why his service is there. That's why you need it. So this is something you guys definitely need to check it out. I don't care what size your business is, small, medium, large, whatever. This is something that needs to be implemented. It really, really does. It's huge. If you're already big, you're going to get bigger. If you're small, you're going to get big, etc. It's definitely something that has to be there. So,
yeah, hopefully it was an eye-opener just listening to Brigham, because he's masterful at that. He's so good at it. And so hopefully that helps people understand just how many opportunities are actually missing, because they're missing way more than they think. How many phone calls? This is a really popular one. And I know this never happens to anybody, but somebody calls and says, how much you charge for R22? What are the guys saying right now? You know what they're saying. They're saying, yeah, it's $120 a pound. Okay, well, let me talk to my husband. I'll call you back. Click. You know how many calls that we were having that were just like that? I mean, just probably 50 just throughout the summer months. We were just losing revenue. So this is powerful stuff, people. You got to learn this stuff and start using it and implement it in your business. And I know Brigham's the master at it. So
yeah, for sure. And you guys don't got to believe us. Before we had this interview today, I went on YouTube, and everybody except for that one guy talked good about Brigham. Just kidding. all the videos were good, and they were business owners just talking about, how things have changed and just how it was just kind of an eye opener. So you guys can all see that for yourself. I guess I know you said there's different services, how you do it for CSRs. You even do it for technicians now. As far as the recording, is that something you're just telling people to do, or is that like involved in your program?
Great question. So every company that I've worked with has a certain amount of their calls that are being recorded, either by their ad agency or by a company that just records those calls and provides a report on a regular basis. We really haven't had many issues where calls are not being recorded. So all we do is we have a team of call monitors that tap into whatever calls you've got that are being recorded, and we monitor them and save them for coaching purposes.
Awesome.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So I guess we're going to put it anyway. If somebody listens to this podcast, so this podcast comes out Monday morning. Monday morning, they wake up and they say, holy shit, I need Brigham. I need some Brigham in my life. How does that happen? How do they get some Power Selling Pros?
Okay, just jump onto the website, powersellingpros.com. And it's just like it sounds, POWERSELLINGPROS.com. And there's a little chat box there, and you'll get to experience our AI our robot firsthand, and just get your name, address, and phone number in there, and we will be calling you back.
I'm going to mess with that thing right now.
If you would. If you would.
And guys, I'm going to make it easy for you, okay? You've already heard little tidbits of how this works in real world situations. We have, like Kelly said, we have all had the, hey, what's the price for R22? And then we hang up. We've all had that. So it's so awesome that he used that as an example, because that can resonate with every one of us. I don't care what stage you're in. The other thing is, I'm going to put these links in the description, okay? Guys, I'm making it easy for you. You don't got to be a fucking rocket scientist to go click, okay? I'm going to have his books on there to click, and I'm going to have his powersellingpros.com on there to click it. Guys, this poster I always have back here, and it says, don't push things off. You got to just do it. Don't procrastinate. And, oh, man, this is so awesome. I'm going to come back and look at this on Friday. Just Monday morning, click the links, man, okay? Click the links and just take care of business. And we promise you guys are gonna be happy with the outcome.
And I'll just add on top of that, there's way more than just booking the call. There's how to handle angry customers. There's we have plan A, plan B, and plan C for the different price shoppers. There's all different types of ways, depending on the conversation, on how to navigate these calls. And I know it just takes practice and role playing to get really good at that. So it sounds, unrehearsed and not just read from a script. That way the customer can feel your sincerity, come through the phone. So, but yeah, it's just the downloads that I got when I was on there. They're great. I definitely hung on to them we use them. So I can't talk highly enough about your program. It's great. So
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's another program that I need to do. Like he said, I'm an operations general manager, but as soon as my owner goes on his boat and stays on his fucking boat, I'll be able to implement some more things. But this is actually something we've actually been talking about. So it was actually kind of awesome that we were doing this podcast tonight. So cool. I guess we're over an hour. It sucks, man. These things go so fast, but I want to thank you so much for coming on. This has been awesome, Brigham. It was awesome to meet you. I hope that we can, stay in touch and stuff like that. This was awesome. I know you guys are busy. I appreciate you coming on here with us, the little lonely HVAC Uncensored, to kind of share your knowledge with us. I really, really appreciate it.
I had a blast. Would love to do it again. I mean, seriously, if you guys want to vet somebody or talk about somebody or get my opinion on something or someone, I'd love to share it with you guys. You're super fun, super awesome. Lots of energy.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome here anytime, man. Just know that.
Cool. Thank
you. Let's go ahead, Kel. Let's start closing this out. Sadly,
I just want to thank Brigham for coming on. Thanks for sharing all the stories with us, and I cannot wait to get your book, and I know others are going to be excited about that too. So I will order my copies tonight, but be sure to share this podcast with your friends, family, coworkers, your boss, your managers. the people that your buddies at the supply house, share it with everybody. So, because this is knowledge that everybody needs to know. It's the rising tide raises all ships. You know, if we all get better, it just helps the entire industry. So that's what Brigham's out there doing with all the different levels of service that he's providing. So I know he's a good man. Go get his stuff. And thanks for listening. So go make money.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much. You know that we appreciate all you guys very much. Like Kelly said, man, if you're not even a business owner and you're a technician and you want these kind of services, go say something to your boss, to your owner, okay? The old saying is a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So you're not going to get the information if you don't go in and ask for it. Be like, hey, I heard this on a podcast. We need this. Listen to this. Check out this link. I'll call and talk to your boss, you know? So, guys, use these tools that we're giving to you. We're getting awesome guests like Brigham to come on here, guys that are changing the game, that are helping people grow and take things to the next level. Technology is key, guys. We have to use it in our favor. The days of grandma and grandpa, you know, call Wilmer to come over and fix the AC. Those days are over. You know, people want to send a text message. They want to, you know, they want to do the stuff on the internet. They want the live chat. That's what you need to. If you're not doing that, then you're behind. You want to be in the front of that. Don't be in the ass end after everybody in your market's already saturated and you're the one dipshit that hasn't done it. So, guys, take these tools that we're giving you, please. If you have questions and you want to ask Brigham something, email us, hvacuncensored@gmail.com, or just go to our website, hvacuncensored.com. And a lot of more of these resources we're going to start adding to our website so that you guys can go there and then go click on these guest websites to make it easy for you. So, yes, make sure you're using these resources. Don't just listen and put it off. That's not what we want you to do, all right? We always say we want you to be the best versions of you. And you can't be that best version without using this information. So, okay, let me catch my breath. Yes, thank you guys, man. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to everybody that came out to the live stream last night and giveaway. If you guys do not know, we have live stream giveaways every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever we go. Weekly content coming. As well as the video podcast being called up every Monday, as well as the audio version, then the live stream, and then other videos between me and Kelly that'll come out in the weeks as well. So we appreciate you guys more than we can ever show. And merchandise is almost done, I promise you. Just been playing catch up for all you guys that have been hitting us up. Merchandise is almost done. You guys better buy the shit after I built all this goddamn website. But guys, remember, guys, be safe out there. Always make it home the same way you left. Guys, set yourself apart. Do what the next guy's not doing. And the next guy's not calling Brigham and Power Selling Pros. So click the fucking link. And guys, we appreciate you guys. Go out there, be the best versions of you. And you know that that's what we're going to try to help you do every Monday with this podcast. So guys, we love you. We appreciate your support, and we'll talk with you mofos next week. All right. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
That is awesome. Real fast before we keep talking. For the video, for all the people watching the video, thank you guys for watching this video podcast of this episode we have with Brigham Dickinson from Power Selling Pros. Yeah, guys, go ahead and all the links are going to be down there, man. Go check this stuff out. This guys, this is info that is the kind of stuff that change people's lives, change people's businesses that you really, really, really need to have. So don't push it off, and I hope that next time we talk to Brigham, he says, man, I had a bunch of people call us after that podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if it doesn't, I'm going to be very disappointed in you guys because we're giving you fucking good information, okay? So
it's evergreen too. It'll be put up there, and for the
Yeah.
next 5 years, you'll be getting leads from this, buddy. So
I'm
which is
grateful.
awesome. Yes, it's awesome.
I'm grateful. I'd
So-
come on anytime. You guys are a ball. Seriously, super fun.
Thanks. YouTubers,
Yeah, well-
peace. We'll check out you mofos later.